Ah, that opening riff hits like a Ferrari flooring it on an empty highway, doesn't it? Sammy Hagar's I Can't Drive 55. It's the kind of tune that still revs up radios, playlists, and those late-night drives where you're pretending the speedometer's just a suggestion. Released back in '84, this track didn't just climb charts. It became a middle finger to the man, a rebel yell wrapped in power chords and Hagar's gravelly howl. But beneath the screeching tires and that infectious chorus lies a saga of real-life frustration, a cop with a ticket book, and a rocker who turned a traffic stop into timeless gold. Stick around because we're peeling back layers you never knew existed, like how one exhausted drive from Africa sparked a protest anthem, or the bizarre ways this song keeps popping up in everything from NASCAR pits to time travel flicks. By the end, you'll be humming it while questioning every speed limit sign you pass. Let's crank this engine and zoom straight to the ignition point, the birth of I Can't Drive 55. Picture Sammy Hagar in 1983, fresh off a grueling trek through Africa and Egypt. We're talking dusty safaris, pyramids, the works. He's jet-lagged out of his mind, lands in New York, grabs a rental car that feels like it's powered by hamsters, and heads north on the Adirondack Northway, that stretch of I-87 outside Albany. It's 2 a.m., the road's deserted, 4 lanes of nothing but stars and silence. Sammy's cruising at what he thinks is a reasonable 62 mph, figuring the limit's 65 like it used to be. Nope. Enter the trooper, lights flashing like a bad acid trip. Turns out the federal speed limit's been clamped at 55 since '74, thanks to the oil crisis and Nixon's fuel-saving brainwave. Sammy gets slapped with a ticket for going 7 over. 7. He's fuming, exhausted, muttering to himself as he finally crashes home at 4 a.m., grabs his guitar, and bam, the lyrics pour out. 1 foot on the brake and 1 on the gas. Hey, well, there's too much traffic. I can't pass. No. That's the raw frustration right there, folks. The meaning behind those lines is pure road rage against a law that turned highways into snail races. And get this, before penning this, Sammy had racked up 34 speeding tickets, had his license yanked 3 times, and was shelling out $135,000 a year on insurance. Talk about a habitual offender turning lemons into a lemonade stand. What if that cop had let him off with a warning? We'd have I Can Drive Whatever I Want, and the 80s would be a lot less fun. But hold on, because the composition wasn't just a solo jam session. Sammy channeled that anger into a hard rock beast, clocking in at 412 of pure adrenaline. He wrote every word, every note, distilling his beef with the national maximum speed law into hooks that stick like gum on your shoe. Phrases like, go on and write me up for 125, post my face wanted dead or alive, take my license, all that jive, I can't drive 55. That's exaggeration at its finest, turning a minor infraction into a Wild West wanted poster. It's satirical swipe at overzealous enforcement, but rooted in truth. Sammy's saying, fine, punish me ridiculously because crawling at 55 feels like a crime against humanity. Or at least against rockers with lead feet. Fun fact, Sammy later admitted the song's meaning evolved for him over the years. Back then it was I Won't Drive 55 as pure protest. Now? It's I can't get where I'm going fast enough at 55, like life's too short for slow lanes. Deep, right? But let's not get philosophical yet. Imagine if Sammy had been ticketed for jaywalking instead. We'd have I Can't Stroll 5, a ballad about pedestrian crosswalks. Yeah, that'd flop harder than a fish on a dashboard. Shifting gears to the album saga and the launch drama surrounding VOA, that's Voice of America, Sammy's 8th studio slab, dropped in July '84 on Geffen Records. This was his last solo hurrah before the Van Halen vortex sucked him in, and boy did it pack a punch. Produced by Ted Templeman, the guy behind Van Halen's early magic, VOA was Sammy flexing his red rocker muscles with tracks like The Title Cut and Two Sides of Love. But I Can't Drive 55 led the charge as the first single, blasting out with that iconic riff that screams freedom, or at least the freedom to mash the gas pedal. Recording-wise, it was straightforward hard rock grit, Sammy on vocals and guitar, backed by his crew including Bill Church on bass and David Lauser on drums. No fancy tricks, just raw energy capturing that highway hypocrisy. Launch drama? Oh, plenty. The music video shoot was a circus of chaos at Saugus Speedway in Santa Clarita, California. Directed by Gil Bettman, it features Sammy and his band getting chased by the California Highway Patrol, thrown in jail, then busting out in a courtroom explosion. Cameo by Geffen exec John Kolodner as the judge, because nothing says rock and roll like label brass in robes. But the real star, Sammy's black Ferrari 512 BBI, tuned by his mechanic buddy Claudio Zampoli, who even drives it in the opening shot, fishtailing like a pro. Sammy? He burned out the clutch during filming, coughing up $5,800 to fix it. Ouch. And that yellow jumpsuit he wears? It's chilling at the Hard Rock Cafe in New Orleans. What if they'd filmed it on a budget with Sammy pedaling a bicycle? I can't bike 5. Nah, it doesn't have the same roar. The video props? Borrowed from Robert Zemeckis' flick Used Cars. Talk about Hollywood recycling. Shot in sweltering summer heat. No AC in the fake jail set. Everyone sweating bullets. A stuntman handled Sammy's wild leaps, including getting blasted across the courtroom by an exploding ramp. High-octane hilarity, but it captured the song's rebellious spirit perfectly. Launch-wise, the single dropped amid the MTV boom, propelling VOA to platinum status. But drama lingered. Sammy's still hunting for that Albany cop, offering backstage VIP treatment if they ever meet. Imagine the reunion. Hey, officer, thanks for the hit song. Beer's on me. As for behind-the-scenes beef? None fabricated here, but Sammy's solo era was winding down. Whispers of Van Halen calling. VOA's release party? Probably involved tequila. Sammy's Cabo Wabo brand was brewing in his mind even then. Pun intended. This album didn't just launch. It accelerated Sammy's career from zero to legend in record time. Now let's floor it into the ascent to legend status. I Can't Drive 55 didn't just chart. It invaded the culture like a virus with a killer solo. Peaked at 26 on the Billboard Hot 100, 9th on Top Rock Tracks. Solid, but its real power was longevity. This tune became the unofficial anthem for every driver cursing speed traps, blasting from car stereos nationwide. Radio DJs spun it endlessly. Fans cranked it at concerts where Sammy still belts it out like it's fresh ink. Ascent highlights? Joining Van Halen in '85 meant 55 tagged along, becoming a staple in their sets, bridging his solo fire with the band's arena thunder. But the legend grew through weird ripples. In '89's Back to the Future Part 2, it plays when Marty hits that dystopian 1985 with Biff's casino towering. Fitting, right? A song about defying limits in a time travel mess. Then '85's Moving Violations cranks it during a high-speed joyride. Fast forward to 2018's Bumblebee, Transformers nostalgia with '80s rock punch. Gaming world? It's a playable banger in Guitar Hero on Tour, Decades and Guitar Hero Live. Forza Motorsport 4 has an achievement for hitting over 125 mph in a 1984 Ferrari GTO, nodding to the lyrics and video's prancing horse. What if video games enforced 55 mph? Forza Snail Edition, Hours of Boredom, no thanks. And the Quirky tributes? Sammy re-recorded a I Can't Drive 65 version in 2001 for NBC's NASCAR coverage, celebrating the Limits repeal in '95, used for Pole Award segments. Ironic, since the original protested the slowdown. In a Napa Auto Parts ad, Sammy ribs NASCAR's Michael Waltrip, whose car was not 55 and sometimes couldn't qualify. Can you drive 55? Sammy asks. Waltrip, I can't drive the 55 gold. Even hockey. Detroit Red Wings blast it when Nicholas Kronwall scores at home. Calgary Flames for Noah Hannafin. 2021. Sammy performs it live at the NASCAR All-Star race in Texas, warming up the crowd. Political swipe. In 2014, Sarah Palin gets ticketed for 63 in a 45 zone in Alaska, blames the song on her radio. Sammy tweets he'll pay the fine, chivalry with a rock twist. The meaning? It flipped from anti-government rant to cultural shorthand for hurry-up culture. Obscure nugget. Sammy once calculated it'd take 16 hours to reach LA at 55, hence the lyric gripe. Legend status sealed when VH1 ranked it 100th greatest hard rock song. Not bad for a ticket-inspired tantrum. Diving into the enduring impact and that quirky aftermath, I Can't Drive 55 didn't fade when limits rose. It evolved into a symbol of American rebellion, like apple pie with a side of exhaust fumes. Post-repeal states jacked speeds to 70, 80, even 85 in Texas spots. Sammy's protest helped fuel that shift, alongside trucker convoys and public grumbling. Culturally, it's etched in soundtracks. NBA 2K18, Twisted Metal, even NHL Rivals 2004 with a sped-up remix. ESPN used it for 2012 NASCAR openers. Ripple effects? It sparked copycats. Remember trucker anthems like Convoy? But Sammy's was the slickest, blending humor with bite. Quirky aftermath. Fans still send him speeding tickets for autographs. One dude in Montana drove 55 in protest, on a highway causing chaos. What if the limit stuck? We'd have underground speed clubs, Sammy as their patron saint, racing in secret like prohibition bootleggers but with V8s. Satirical jab. Government tried saving gas but wasted more on signs and troopers. Sammy's genius. Turning personal peeve into universal gripe. Today, with electric cars and self-driving tech, the song's a relic. But crank it, and you're back in 84, foot to the floor. Enduring fact, Sammy owns that video Ferrari still, a trophy of his wild ride. So there you have it, the wild, wacky history of Sammy Hagar's I Can't Drive 55, from a sleepy ticket to cultural nitro. If this revved your engine, smash that like button, subscribe for more rock lore that hits harder than a power cord, and drop a comment. What's your worst speeding story? Until next time, keep the pedal down, legally of course. Or not. Rock on!